welcome everyone from all around the world. Great to see all your names in the chat and faces on the screen. Today I'm going to talk about, are we aligned? How do we wire organizations for strategic clarity? Now, Marcus, thanks for the kind intro, which covered a bit of my work life. At home, got 3 kids, and the last few years really got passionate about beekeeping and breeding cattle. So that gives me a nice distraction from all of the change work that we're doing in the day job. Between the hosting and the e-commerce business and starting TeamForm, I immersed myself in a number of sort of large, complex transformations, and really got to experience, all aspects of engineering, architecture, ways of working, org design, cost, in quite an extreme way, and that really led us to build TeamForm as a capability we wish we had when we were in running those transformations. Just briefly on TeamForm, our mission at TeamForm is to help every organization embed the way you uniquely work and how you organize your teams around outcomes. We want that to be part of the everyday employee experience, not just living on PowerPoints and Confluence pages. We really want to take the way that you're driving your ways of working and the ways of organizing, and it really embed it in your organizational experience. So today, we're going to dig into the topics of transparency, team design, and aligning behind company priorities. We're going to dig a little bit into this new term of the product operating model that's been flowing through everyone's LinkedIn pages over the last year or more. Look forward to getting into this with you. I thought we might just start with a scenario. Imagine you're in an organization where the light switches are wired to the fire alarm. Now, every time you turn on the light, the fire alarm goes off. However, this is all documented. It's buried deep in the employee handbook. In this type of organization, everyone knows who the new starter is. The initiation ritual putting into the company or learning the ropes is very visible. Hopefully they last. Hopefully they see out their induction. To those that have been there for some time, they know that no means yes, on means off, and the language of the organization. In this example that I shared, the feedback loop is immediate. When the switch is flicked, there's an immediate feedback loop. However, what we see in many organizations is that feedback loop of understanding that there's a fundamental miswiring can take months to hear back. You might be talking about a specific term only for your colleague to be taking a completely different meaning and interpreting it in a very different way. And so, when we think about this topic, we're thinking about how do we build a shared understanding of the organizational language, the systems, business processes, and teams. This is more important than ever as many people are leaving organizations, joining new organizations. The amount of learning and relearning that needs to occur is dramatically increasing. And so, the key question as we sort of dive into the talk is, how can we be giving our people clarity to be effective and be sure that they're working on the right priorities? So some questions we should ask, do we know what our teams are working on? Are they focused on the right priorities? Is there anything as leaders or as people driving change? What can we do to help clarify these outcomes priorities? And how do we know if all this is working? Where do we see this in the organizational system? So there's a few different problems that come up through this misalignment. Many organizations struggle to clearly define what they're optimizing for. And without a clear North Star, teams often lack focus, leading to duplicative effort and less than ideal outcomes. This lack of focus, I believe, is a massive organizational challenge and opportunity. If you think of the greatest cost in a business, or the greatest form of capital in a business, it is the people. And when priorities are unclear, how each employee, each colleague connects to what success looks like, and the priorities that they're driving for their organization become quite challenging. And we see this in the data when we interview teams. Secondly, the impact of undefined goals. Without clearly communicated, understood goals, decision-making can suffer. Teams are left guessing what to prioritize, leading to inefficiencies, misaligned efforts. And the general reaction to this is micromanagement. I know I'm guilty of it at times. In the absence of clear goals, managers feel compelled to get in, see every detail, which stifles team autonomy and innovation. Some statistics, middle management believe their plans 90% aligned to the company strategy. When analysed, they only were 30% aligned. Really important to be clear on our goals. What's the cost of this? Massive wasted effort on low priority tasks, delayed decision-making when the priorities aren't clear, frustrated teams, and we see turnover in the skills that we're wanting to keep and retain in our organizations. Our colleagues are seeking clarity, purpose, direction, and it's on us as leaders to help make sure that that's there. And especially in these days of disruption that we're seeing, without this alignment, organizations really struggle to effectively respond to changing market demands. And so, we're going to unpack a couple of areas that I think are key unlocks and where we've seen success in our customers, in our own lived experience. A core element of this is the unit of the team. If you look back through the books that have become quite popular in the IT revolution community and the change community, such as Accelerate, Sooner, Safer, Happier, as is known by this community, the Transformed and the books from Marty Kagan. All of these books point to the unit of the team being a foundational unit of the organization. And this is not the unit that you might see just in the org chart. This is a collection of people, cross-functional skills, working together behind a clear outcome. And so great product organizations recognize this, and they put teams at the center. When teams are an afterthought, or they're on spreadsheets, or it's all in the talking, but not in the living and how they work day to day. Alignment becomes impossible. Engagement's hard to maintain. And as change leaders, I've found myself constantly trying to fight to keep the dream alive, when really these concepts should be embedded in the organization's DNA. So if we think about like the fundamentals of a great team, clarity of purpose and outcomes, clear ownership and empowered ownership. They need to own their domain, be accountable for outcomes, be autonomous where possible to decide how to get things done. They need to have the right skills, and be able to collaborate with the right areas. We really should be thinking about minimizing handoffs or dependencies wherever possible. Sometimes I see celebrating dependencies, in key forums. I take that as a bit of a sign of a flaw in the team design. And a customer feedback loop, whether it be an internal or ideally external customer that's using the service the team's delivering, and providing feedback so the team can learn. So these are the core components of a great team. And I am a massive believer in the strength of a small, empowered cross-functional team. I know that when we've got the right people together, working on the right outcome with the right skills, we can achieve amazing things. I feel happier going home from work, being part of a team. The teammates feel happier, and we're achieving outcomes. It's a great place to be. When I look at companies and the way that they're working, we've mapped, I think Steve Piera presented in a previous, might have presented a previous meetup here, but using those types of techniques, we've mapped and can prove that a team of 2 or 3 empowered by their leader can do the work in a week that another team can do in, across 20 people in 18 months. It's possible to get things done with the right empowerment people, and the cost of delay, is massive. And so, we've actually done a bunch of research over the last couple of years, asking organizations how they're organized. What we observed in TeamForm is that, and this is supported obviously by Sooner, Safer, Happier in the book, there's not one size that fits all. I've now run this workshop with over 100 different unique organizations. Every organization calls their team of teams, and their organizing structure something different that's unique to their culture and context, just to bring to life some of that terminology and shared language element. The other element is thinking about not just the unit of the team, but the system that it operates within. And so Sooner, Safer in the book also shares the concepts of nested value streams. There's many other models as well, but these are great concepts to dig into and think about not just the team, but as you scale, how do you add the minimum required scaffolding around that to keep alignment and focus while operating at a very large scale. We also see, great builds. Once you've got a team, thinking about the identity of the team, and team topologies really brings these concepts to life that make so much sense once you've lived them, of streamlined team, enabling teams, platform teams, as well as really thinking about the interactions that are happening between teams. So we've got a whole bunch of tools, available to us to really think well into these topics. Yeah, as I said, yeah, every organization is unique. The teaming construct, the language that you use will be informed by the company's culture, history, incentives, the tech architecture, a whole range of different factors. Yeah, and we've proven there's not one size that fits all. I think just in the work that we've been doing, the messy truth is that these teams, as they're embedded in organizations, often get jammed into traditional constructs because that's what the management systems support. You could have an empowered cross-functional squad, team, whatever you want to call it, in your company that shows up to employees as a project or an initiative or a cost center, God forbid. And so I've asked one question to every company that I've chatted to in the last 5 years on this journey. I asked them, do you use cross-functional teaming structures as a way of organizing in your organization? And 90% of companies we chat to, and yes, there'll be some bias of the people we chat to, but 90% say, yes, we do. I asked them a second question. If I joined tomorrow, where would I see the unit of the team that I'm in and the other teams that exist in their environment? And 80% still today, actually still yesterday, when I chatted to another company, 80% say there's a spreadsheet of teams, a Miro board of teams, a PowerPoint chart that someone updated a month ago, or go chat to this person in the organization. And for me, yes, I have some bias. We've built a tool. We're only building the tool because this is a gap, and this core way of working we think is best set up for the best way to set up to achieve outcomes deserves to be in more than a spreadsheet. If you've seen the meme on architecture, I think this is quite the case in the organizations we chat to, and you'll probably have some spreadsheet that looks a bit like this, or one of the many that we've got on our wall of well-intentioned spreadsheets managing who is where. So that's a bit just on empowered product teams and how to organize them. We really want to encourage that concept is embedded, sustained. It outlasts the latest leader or transformation leader, and it becomes part of the core organizational DNA. But if we zoom out and just talk about some of the trends that we're seeing, and there has been a shift away from the capital A agility that has been installed or attempted to be installed in many organizations. There are new terms like product operating model that are really helping us get back to some simpler principles about how we might operate and how we connect the strategy to the people doing the work to achieving the outcomes, which is pretty simple when you zoom out. So if you haven't checked out the product operating model, it's worth reading Marty's articles. We're really seeing it resonate very strongly in the technology leadership and the product leadership communities in a way that that's quite positive. We were a bit worried when the A word became a bit of a swear word. but to see the same principles, the same underlying motivations that we've had as a community be embraced. I think it's a helpful thing to help push these efforts forward. And so, if we think about the key attributes of the product operating model, we've talked about the unit of an empowered team, which is assigning or spawning teams around specific problems to solve, giving them ownership of particular areas, and the ability to get on with the work. Another key topic is outcome-focused work, and being more outcome-oriented in the way that we talk about the things that we want to achieve. These concepts are quite revolutionary, not really, to this community at least. Frequent and small releases, breaking things down, shipping incremental functionality. This is our bread and butter as a community. Customer centricity, thinking about the product vision, thinking about customer needs, and having that guide the direction that we take. In sooner, safer language, this is organizing around outcomes. But it is good to be able to leverage the language of the day to help drive the change. Hey, so I'm going to just dive a little bit into outcome-focused work for a moment, and I want to leave 20 minutes for questions at the end. And I'll use a bit of our own example here just to bring this shift to life, because even living it, we need to continue to work on this ourselves. It just takes discipline and work. So I'd like to just share an example of an outcome that sort of came into our quarterly planning process for one of our teams. Our tool is used by tens of thousands of people in our customers' organizations, and there are aspects of our product that didn't meet the top sort of accessibility standards, which impacted people with a vision impairment. And so this became a really key priority based on that customer feedback, and they were very generous with their feedback and the time that they spent with us to share what they were experiencing. And so an outcome landed on one of our team's QBR plans: achieve accessibility compliance, the latest standard WCAG 2.2 AA rating. Now, the challenge with that is the quarter progressed, and we'd gone into the quarter clearly committed. We'd engaged an external auditor. We prioritized this in our team's backlog. However, the scope wasn't clear. Does this apply to the whole app or just some of the app? Is this doing it in tests so the auditor can complete the work and give us a certificate, or is it shipping it into production, to all of our users? And does this mean that for every new feature that we're going to ship, it's now going to be accessible? If we baked in the standards, you could really drive a freight train through the definition of the outcome. But for me as the leader, it was almost too late, because we'd sort of let the teams, we'd set the teams off on their journey. And so, thinking about this from an outcome perspective, which is where we shifted to, we talked about the outcome that we want to achieve, which is all users benefit from this investment that we're making and the work that we're doing. We measured this in a number of key results in terms of looking at when it's in production, and we made sure the team is clear and we're aligned on the definition that any future feature that we ship will need to meet those standards, which meant additional platform work to build that into our pipeline. And so that only came out when we really zoomed out and we thought about the outcome. If I dial it up a bit, we're a smaller organization, but if you think about a major tech transformation where you're shipping and replacing legacy platforms with new digital platforms, I've been in this situation before where you're spending tens of millions of dollars. And again, it's possible to drive a truck through the milestones that are being set. Is done in use by customers. Have we migrated customers across to the new platform, allowing us to decommission the old? It's incredibly important, and it can save you tens of millions of dollars by really clarifying clearly the end outcome and making sure that all teams are aligned behind that and clear of it. And so, we talked a bit at the beginning about how teams organize their teams. In the work and the strategy domain, it's the same challenge. There is not one size fits all. Every organization is different. We've got the data to show it. There's not one tool that magically shows everything. There's always a collection of tools in different departments, in different parts of the organization. And the structure and the strategy is always evolving in response to business needs. And so spending years to try and engineer this into a tool, we see, as a bit of a fraught effort. And so, if we just zoom out as sort of try and land the plane for us, there are massive benefits in driving transparency and alignment. If we can focus the efforts of the team on the right priorities, if we can, by getting clearer on the outcomes we're achieving, we can make better decisions faster, avoiding the need to micromanage. We can improve employee engagement, which in most companies is an executive incentive. And that's something that people care about, that can be focused on to help drive change. But to do it, there's a cost, and the cost is leaning in. It's having those hard, uncomfortable conversations. When you see that there's misalignment, it's about bringing the right people together or having that conversation yourself to drive alignment and close the loop. And it's also about investing in rewiring and your organization in terms of codifying this way of working, making it sustain leadership change, and really embedding the way of working in the DNA. Now, there's some terms that some leaders might resonate with a little bit more there: efficiency, faster, productive, retention. I think there is a really good translation layer from these quite hard terms that have been jarring to our community in the past. But I would suggest to take it as an opportunity to, when they say efficient, think about driving focus, alignment, transparency. When they say faster, how do we speed up decisions, bringing the right people together, or reorganizing people to reduce dependencies? And so, yeah, think about how we can use these foundational capabilities in the product operating model, in organizing for outcomes, to help sort of meet our leaders where they're at. So I might just leave you with a couple of questions you can ask today or tomorrow of your teams. When you're chatting to people, when you're having the morning coffee or the water cooler convo, just ask, can you describe the company's current priorities? What are your priorities today? Do you have the skills in the team that are needed, or are you still running without a product manager or a product owner ambling along as a team? And so, I'd encourage you to have one conversation to help improve clarity, see how it goes, and then encourage others to do the same. And with that, I'll wrap up. We've really appreciated this community's support on the journey that we're on. One area that I would love, and we'll get to questions, we want to do more learning. We're building what we hope is the best team management visualization tool, and we'd love your feedback. We promise we won't sell to you. You can look at the tool for yourself, but we're doing there's two pieces of work at the moment. One in the directory of how we visualize teams. We want to show you all the ways we're thinking about it and hear from you what would resonate. The other one is, how do we connect the dots between all these disparate systems and see the connected work and outcomes? Again, Chris Coombe, who's been key member of the SSH community, is doing product discovery on that topic, and we'd love to get your input and feedback into that. But thanks so much for the time, and I'll open